Welcome to Any Given Sunday, Week 13 in this NFL season. My name is Tyler. This is my good friend Coop. And this week, happy holidays. We've got Thanksgiving and Black Friday games. So we've got football this week on Thursday, Friday. We've got college football on Saturday, and we've got NFL football on Sunday.
And I believe Monday
and
as well.
Monday.
So
we've
full
got
weekend.
We've got a really full weekend of football. NFL fans, tell your partners, your spouses to leave you alone this weekend. All right, so just preface, we are on a little bit of a time crunch this week, so we are going to try to fire these games off faster than usual. But we're still going to go through our circled games as we usually do, and our first circled games are going to be our first holiday game at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Thanksgiving. We've got the
It's
Packers.
actually noon.
It's at noon?
It's at noon.
Starting at 12?
It always
My
kicks off at
apologies.
noon.
My apologies. At 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we've got the Packers going into the Thanksgiving regulars, the Detroit Lions. And we picked this game differently, so I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, so I wonder what our other three circled games for this week are if we're starting with the first one from Thanksgiving. But it's Packers at Lions. The Packers dominated the Lions in week one. And I've noticed something over the last 2 weeks. The Eagles' defensive line and the Giants' defensive line are really, really, really strong. Jared Goff is not good under pressure, and once you've pressured or sacked him a couple of times, he starts to become an errant passer. And the Packers' run defense is still really good. It's hard for me to see. Detroit broke a yearly tradition of losing Thanksgiving games thanks to a decision that made Matt Eberflus the first ever midseason fired coach in Chicago Bears history. I think they get back to their losing ways on Thanksgiving this year. I've got Packers 28-14. I think their defensive line is just going to mow through. I think their defense in general is going to mow through this Lions offense. As good as they are, I don't see it being particularly close.
Yeah, the Packers' rush defense is obviously phenomenal. The only concern that I have is that when their pass rush is good, it's mostly when Micah Parsons shows up. And this offensive tackle duo, especially if Micah Parsons is getting blocked by Penei Sewell for most of the game, I don't think Micah Parsons is going to be nearly as much of a threat as he is while playing weaker tackles.
Yeah.
And I think Penei Sewell is going to be absolutely huge for the Lions in this game. He is what a lot of people consider one of the best, if not the best, offensive tackle in the NFL. And I've got the Lions winning it in a really close game. I've got them winning it at home, 28-27, and continuing their streak of winning.
Making
a streak, not even continuing a streak, making the streak of winning on Thanksgiving.
Speaking of winning on Thanksgiving, Chiefs-Cowboys. I actually have no idea if the Cowboys won on Thanksgiving last year. I think they did. But I have no way to substantiate that belief, and I'm not going to look. I'm just going to let the pop-up that should be right here let you know. This is a must-win game for both of these teams. Both of them won this week against, I'll say it, superior opponents. It's a Cowboy home game. It's a short week for both teams. Kansas City will get one step closer to being eliminated from the playoffs. I've got Dallas 35-28 at home. I don't think the Chiefs have been very good this year. I think that their run game especially has been atrocious, and if Dallas has shown anything since acquiring Quinnen Williams, they could sure as shit stop the run, and it's going to make it a lot easier to defend the pass. I'm not scared of any Kansas City pass catcher other than Rashee Rice. And maybe Xavier Worthy's speed scares me.
Yeah, and Rashee Rice showed up huge for Kansas City this weekend, especially in crunch time, trying to get yards late in the game for the game tying and what would end up be the game winning field goal for Kansas City. Rashee Rice absolutely showed up huge. Having him back is really beneficial for Kansas City. But even with Rashee Rice being back, I don't think the Chiefs defense is going to be able to contain this explosive Cowboys offense and this explosive Cowboys passing attack. I've got them winning at 32-24. And that's as great as the Chiefs did against the Indianapolis Colts. I think at this point in the season, we've learned that what runs the Colts offense is not their passing game. It is Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
And if you can shut down Jonathan Taylor, it makes it a lot easier to stop the Colts from scoring points. And that's what the Kansas City Chiefs did. They were able to restrain Jonathan Taylor, keep him under wraps for a majority of the game, and that eventually is what led to their defensive success.
Well, and the Cowboys are much more passing offense. They are not bad at rushing the ball by any means. Javonte Williams has had a very good season. I don't think it's going to matter that they contain Javonte Williams because CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens have both been so good. And then you also have to worry about Jake Ferguson. It's just going to be a rough go at it for the Chiefs, and they are going to get one step closer to they're going to get one step closer to not being in the playoffs. Yeah. And teams that, speaking of teams that may or may not make the playoffs, our final Thanksgiving game, not our final circle game, we have 4 of them this week, but our final Thanksgiving game is Bengals at Ravens, a game which our wonderful executive producer will actually be at. This is it. We thought it might happen last week. The Bengals held them out. This is it. This is the return of Joe Burrow. We have this game marked differently.
We do.
Why do you think the return of Joe Burrow matters so much for Cincinnati?
Well, I mean, for me, it's less of the return of Joe Burrow, and for me, it's that the Ravens started this season 1-5. They currently sit atop the AFC North because of a tiebreaker with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Although with that, the last few wins have not been convincing to me, despite them being against very not good teams. And to me, the Bengals, with Joe Burrow, I think are good enough to get the best of the Ravens this time. And I'm going to be with my family watching this game. All of my family are Ravens fans. They are going to be upset when Joe Burrow and the Bengals beat them 28-24 on Thanksgiving because the Ravens just haven't looked like themselves.
Maybe not. And they did struggle this past week against the Jets. They ended up pulling out the win, but they struggled in the first half. They were trailing at the half. The Bengals defense is so much worse than the Jets defense. I don't think either of us thought we'd be saying that, especially after the Jets traded Sauce Gardner and Quinn Williams away. But the Jets defense since the trade deadline has been much improved. They've played much tougher. And the Bengals just haven't. The Bengals just aren't a good defense. And it's going to be a high-scoring game. I have it as 27-24. I wouldn't be surprised if one or both of these teams scored 40+.
Yeah.
It's been that kind of season for both clubs. I think that the thing that gives it to the Ravens is probably just that Joe Burrow, he might be willing and able to play, but he's definitely still hurt.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to hamper him. And a shorter week of practice than usual. He's not going to miss any time with Jamar Chase. He might struggle to get his connection back with T. Higgins a little bit. I think that 27-24 in Baltimore is a very reasonable score for both of these teams. And now on to our final circle game. Early in the year, around week 3 or 4, it looked like the Thanksgiving and the pre-Sunday slate of Thanksgiving week was going to be awful. All 4 of the pre-Sunday games ended up in our circled games. Bears at Eagles. I got to be honest, it's hard for me to pick the Eagles in this one. As much as a homer as I've been for them, I think I only picked against them once, and that was when they went to Tampa Bay. They ended up winning that game. I'm not picking against them here. It's a home game. I'm sticking by it. Nobody is going to beat us at home. Chicago has played very well. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but if the Eagles lose this game, someone needs to be fired. Someone should already be fired. Kevin Patullo, count your fucking... I'm just kidding. Someone hire him as a head coach. He's a great coordinator. I have no problems with him whatsoever. Hire him as a head coach. Please. I want him gone. I have the Eagles winning 28-25 at home. I don't think anyone is going to beat the Eagles in Philadelphia. Regular season playoffs, whatever it is, I just don't think it's happening.
Yeah, I've also got the Eagles winning this game 24-20, but my opinion on the Bears on this show that I've shown on this show has been that I don't have a lot of confidence in the Bears, that they haven't shown me consistency. But I feel like they've won 8 of their last 9, and they are looking like a team that is very much so beginning to earn my respect. And they have shown consistency in the ability to win and the ability to succeed offensively, and that scares me a little bit. Now,
Yeah.
I am still picking the Eagles, but it is because it is an Eagles home game, and I think that the Eagles are a better team right now. Now, if the Bears win it, I think it changes the power structure of the NFC. If the Bears win,
yeah.
we've got to start talking about the Bears as the second best team in the NFC.
I think third. I think that
Second or third. They've got to be in that top 3.
100% they have to be in the top 3. I think if Chicago wins this game, it slots them firmly in at 3, ahead of their division rivals in the Packers and the Lions. They've had an easier schedule. They played a fourth place schedule this year. They are playing a fourth place schedule this year, but they still took care. If they would have won this game, they will have taken care of the entire NFC East. Less impressive this year maybe than in past years, but still hard to beat an entire division. And the only 2 teams that will have been bona fide 100% better than them throughout the course of the entire season will be LA and Seattle.
Yeah. And that is exciting to me. That's exciting for Chicago. Chicago, the Bears have been struggling for decades, and the Caleb Williams could be the first 4,000-yard passer they have ever had in their history. And it's exciting. With that, still, we both got the Eagles. I've got them 24-20. You've got them 28-25 on Black Friday. And on to the rest. And again, because of time constraint, we are going to try to fire these off really, really fast, just because of limited time. And the first one, we've got the Bills coming off of a mini bye.
And an embarrassing loss.
And a very embarrassing loss that we were able to react live to against the Houston Texans. And I've got this one pinned I've got the Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to win it. It's in Pitt. I think they're only going to win it if Aaron Rodgers is healthy.
I agree.
And if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, I've got the Steelers winning it 24-20. I think that the Bills right now are sliding. I think Josh Allen is on a really bad run. And when Josh Allen's on a bad run, the Bills are on a bad run. And I've got, if Aaron Rodgers plays, Steelers 24-20. If not, I think the Bills are going to win 20-17.
Yeah, I have the Bills winning 17-10. I really am only picking against Pittsburgh because it's hard for me to see them beating Buffalo. Josh Allen is having a rough stretch, but it's not as rough as it could be. And that's really all I have to say about that. On to Rams at Panthers, a 1 o'clock game. I'm going to reiterate this. Actually, I don't think I said it yet. We're filming on a Monday. We don't know how the Panthers will have played tonight by the time that we're recording this. That being said, over the last 2 years, they've been a very annoying team to the top teams in each conference. They beat Green Bay earlier this year. I have the Rams winning 35-29, but I think that it's a much, much sweatier game than it really deserves to be. The Rams are the class of the conference. The Panthers are trying to fight for a division title in the NFC South. The Rams are going to make that quest a little bit harder. I've got Rams 35-29.
Yeah, and I've got this one. I'm pretty sure this one is my biggest point differential of the week. I've got the Rams winning at 42-10. I mean, the defense has been on an absolute tear, limiting and shredding top offenses over the last couple of weeks. And the Panthers are not one of the top offenses in the NFL, and the Rams offense is also been elite this season. And I've got the Rams winning it dominantly 42-10. And I think it'll only stop at 42 because the starters will be out of the game in the fourth quarter. And onto our next, we've got a matchup of South teams, although different conferences. We've got the New Orleans Saints going into Miami. I've got the Saints on this one. And this is a rare Saints pick for me. I think this might be the first time this season I picked the Saints. And I've got the Saints this week, and it's a hunch.
Really?
It's a hunch.
In Miami. Okay.
Call it a lack of confidence in the Dolphins. Call it I think sometimes even the bad teams have to be good.
I think the Saints had their moment of bad teams have to be good when they beat the Panthers. I have the Dolphins winning this one 24-17. Did you say your score?
I did not. I've got the Saints winning at 27-21.
Yeah, I've got the Dolphins at home. This is a weird one. This is a weird one. The Saints are a well-coached team.
The Dolphins are a weird team, though.
Dolphins are a very weird team. Yeah, I don't see it. And speaking of games where I just don't see it for one of the teams, our other contestant coming off a mini bye, the Texans have had a run of incredible form the last 3 weeks. I believe they've won 3 in a row.
They have.
Including beating Buffalo at home. Unfortunately, they are on the road this week. Shut the fuck up. I have the Colts winning this one at home 35-14. The Texans have shown a lot of heart. I think it could be closer than this. But the Colts are pissed that they lost to Kansas City in Kansas City. They're returning home. They're not going to lose there. They are going to try to stave off the Jaguars. And I think they're going to get a little bit of help from the Jaguars opponent this week. But we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to the Texans. They have been on an absolutely great run, pulling off the upset in Buffalo last week. But this week you got the divisional opponent. And this is me being bad at my job. I'm not familiar if they have matched up this so far this season. And if they have, I'm not familiar.
They have.
The
Colts
won. How it went.
The Colts won in Houston earlier in the year.
But I've got the Colts winning at 32-24. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than you do. I think that this probably looks like a Jonathan Taylor game-sealing touchdown late in the game. And we've both got the Colts winning it, putting up 30+, but we will see what happens on Sunday. I am curious to see how this one goes because of seeing if the Colts and Jonathan Taylor have started to get slowed down. But we will see when they play the Texans this Sunday.
I just did something that I've done a couple times this year. I just changed my opinion on the result for one of the games. Falcons at Jets in New Jersey. Falcons defense, very good. Excellent. One of the best in the league. Falcons offense, Jets defense.
Kirk threw 2 touchdowns last week.
Jets defense, much improved since trading away 2 of their best players. Don't ask me how that works. I don't know. Their offense looked much better under the tutelage of Tyrod Taylor. In New Jersey, I have the Jets winning this one 21-20. I think it will be a very close game. I think it probably comes down to a last-minute touchdown drive by the Jets to knock themselves further out of contention in the number 1 pick.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about things that I just don't see happening. I just don't see the Jets winning. I picked the Falcons this year a lot of times, and so far it has proved me.
Holy shit, we disagree on a lot.
They've disappointed me so far a lot this season, but I do think that they're going to get the one against the Jets. Like Coop said, they both have really, really phenomenal defenses, although even under Kirk O'Chains, next week they should have Drake London back.
Yes.
Drake London, I swear he is a heart attack as a fantasy manager every single week. I have no idea if he's playing or not. But when he plays, this Falcons offense looks a lot better. And he's a great receiver, and that makes sense. But so I've got the Falcons winning this one in a close one, 22-20 in New Jersey at MetLife. Even if it's Kirko with Drake London, they're just a significantly better offense and a significantly better passing attack. But we'll see what happens on Sunday. Next up, we've got a team where my pick is completely off of prayer.
Sure.
Because I don't want to see the 49ers in the playoffs. The 49ers this week face the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. And I'm praying that Myles Garrett puts up 5 sacks on them and maybe like 4 forced fumbles. Really hoping that happens. I've
Right. So here's kind of the problem with that. I think Myles Garrett individually will have an outstanding game. Shador has to go up against a Robert Saleh defense this week. I have the 49ers winning this one 24-17 in Cleveland. It wouldn't stun me if the Browns won. That's a lie. It would stun me if the Browns won. I just don't see it.
That was a joke, by the way. Robert Saleh, you are a really, really good defensive coordinator. You are doing really well in San Francisco despite all the injuries. I just really hope that the Browns are going to win it. And I think that Shador Sanders, in his first start, granted against the Las Vegas Raiders, showed to be a slight upgrade than their quarterback play from the rest of the season. And I think the Browns are going to win this one in a combination of dominant defense and just being able to score enough. I've got the Browns winning it 27-17. You've got the 49ers winning it 24-17. We will see what happens in Cleveland on Sunday. And we've got another South matchup this time in the same division. We've got the Jags, who are really fighting for a wild card spot, trying to stay in contention for a potential division title, against the 1-10 Tennessee Titans.
And I foreshadowed this earlier. I have the Titans winning this one. Now, I said last week, before the Titans-Seahawks matchup, that the Seahawks were significantly better than the Titans in just about every way. And we both expected that to be the blowout of the week. And not only was it not a blowout, it was only a 3-point win. Call me crazy for saying that Jacksonville is not as good as Seattle. It's a Titans home game, which is where Seattle met them. They are coming off the momentum of playing really good against one of the NFL's top teams. I have the Titans 27-24 at home over Jacksonville, creating a little bit of space for the Colts at the top of the division.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about today. The theme has been things we just don't see happening, and I don't see the Titans winning this game. I mean, if the Jaguars, if you lose, I picked against you so many times this year, and every single time I picked against you, you decided to win a football game. I swear, if I pick you this week, I'm going to start feeling like I control the fate of the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I've got the Jaguars winning it in Tennessee 24-21. You've got the Titans winning it 27-24. Either way, I think that this should be a decent game, despite one of the teams being the current holder of the first overall pick. But we'll see what happens on Sunday.
Speaking of games that should probably be decent, despite one of the teams being a lot worse than the other, Baker Mayfield, we don't know the nature of his injury. Any information we do have should be right here. Oh, boy. I have the Cardinals 28-25. Mayfield looked like he was in a lot of pain last night. And I think that the Buccaneers' outlook with Teddy Bridgewater is significantly worse than it is with Baker Mayfield.
I mean, yeah, that happens when you lose your quarterback, at that being probably one of the best in the league. My score prediction is I do have the Buccaneers 31-20, although just like the Steelers, I think that is only going to happen if Baker Mayfield plays. If Baker Mayfield does not play, I think the Cardinals probably take it somewhere around a 27-20 win. It's in Tampa, which does give the Bucs a little bit of an edge.
Sure.
I am curious to see how Baker Mayfield's injury progresses through this week. Like we've mentioned so far, we are currently recording on Monday before the Monday night game of the 49ers versus the Panthers. But so we don't have a lot of insight. We don't really know how Baker's feeling. He did look like he was in a lot of pain, but even when it happened, I was like, oh, if he's feeling any kind of discomfort, just take him out, because at that point they were already down by 3 scores.
Yeah.
And just let him fight for next week, because that game was pretty much already lost. But You've got the Cardinals 28-25. I got the Bucks 31-20 if Baker Mayfield plays. And then we've got the Vikings going into Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle's probably not thrilled that they played down to their competition in Tennessee. The Vikings are not anywhere near as bad as the Titans, and I have a similar result as what happened in Tennessee. I have Seattle winning 28-24. It is a Seattle home game. I could see the margin on this one being much wider. The Vikings just don't have it this year. They had it last year, and unfortunately they ran into a buzzsaw of a Rams team, and that's that for Seattle.
Yeah, keep this one short. J.J. McCarthy may be the key for the future, but right now it just looks like he doesn't have it. And not to say that that is a knock. That's not to say that he is a bust. That's not to say that he's going to be unsuccessful in his career. That is just saying right now he does not have it, and right now the Seahawks do. I've got the Seahawks winning it 30-14 in a dominant showing at home. I mean, JSN is playing out of his mind, and the defense is still good. And onto our next game, we've got a AFC West matchup. We've got the Raiders going into the Los Angeles Chargers while the Chargers are coming off of a bye, and we've both got the Chargers in this one.
Can somebody say massacre? I have the Chargers winning 28-10. I think that's probably generous to the Raiders. The only thing that gives me pause is I don't know the nature of Max Crosby's injury because I'm bad at my job. And if he comes back, this game is going to be a lot closer than it really has any right to be. LA should get the win off the bye week. Everybody should be a little bit healthier. They've had 2 weeks to game plan for this. If they lose, it reflects really poorly on them and gives the Chiefs a hell of a better chance to get into the playoffs. LA doesn't want that to happen. Nobody wants that to happen. I've got 28-10 in favor of the Chargers.
Yeah, I've got the Chargers winning at 23-18, and that closeness is really just because of the Chargers at times can look like a really bad team. But with that, I think that they're going to get the win over a team that is no doubtedly worse. And then on to a game that I think I have pinned a lot closer just out of superstition. But we've got the Broncos going into the Commanders, both teams coming off of a bye. And what do you see for this one?
I see a Broncos team that's had 2 weeks to game plan for a flailing Commanders team. The Commanders might have gotten healthy. Jaden Daniels might be healthier than he was going into the bye. I don't think it matters. I've got the Broncos 35-24. Denver, good team at minimum. Maybe not great, maybe not dominant, but good team at minimum. And Washington is not.
Yeah, I mean, that really is the kind of dynamic of this one. Even though it's in Washington, the Broncos may not be a dominant team, but they win football games. And that's why I've got this one pinned as a 23-20 win for the Broncos. I don't think they're going to win flashily. I don't think it's going to be a huge win, but they're going to find a way to win the game. And that's just I feel like has been the reality of this Broncos team this season. And I think that trend is going to continue here. On to a battle in New England. We've got the New York Giants going into the Patriots. This is our Monday night game next week.
And our record 9th disagreement in a week we have 17 games. We disagree because there are 16 games for Thanksgiving, and then we also are covering next Thursday's game.
You think the Patriots are going to lose?
I think Mike Kafka is a hell of a coach. And I think if Jackson Dart comes back, they could be really dangerous. It's only a 1-point win. I have the Giants winning 25-24 in New England. It's a tough shake for the Giants, but Wan'Dale Robinson played great. They have the Lions on the ropes. I think we can agree, despite the records, the Lions are a better team than the Patriots. New England is due. They've won 8 or 9 in a row. they are due to feel a little bit of pain. And there's nothing quite like losing to the Giants in a week that the Jets could feasibly win.
You know, when you first said that we disagreed on this one because you think the Giants are going to win, my first thought was, how could you possibly think that? But you may have just convinced me to switch my prediction for this game because, I mean, other than it feels like they're due, the Giants did just take the Lions to the brink with none other than famous Jameis at the helm. And this week we should be seeing Jackson Dart again. And I talked about it last week. Jackson Dart, I think, has been a really impactful player for the Giants. And I'm curious to see what this Kafka team looks like with Dart. And I am going to switch my prediction. I am going to say that the Giants will upset the Patriots in Foxborough in a close one. I'm going to say it'll go 27-24 in favor of the Giants.
Damn. I was really hoping to have 9 disagreements in a week where we have 17 predictions.
To break it.
That wraps up this week's games. There are 16 games this week for the first time since week 4. The final bye weeks will play out next week, but because there are so many games pre-Sunday, the NFL wanted to make sure that we had a full Sunday slate anyway. And now, next Thursday's game. Very interesting. It'll be the first Thursday night game, maybe ever, where both teams are going into it. Certainly the first Thursday night game this year, where both teams are going into it on a full week of rest. It's Thanksgiving team against Thanksgiving team. Cowboys at Lions next Thursday. Full week of rest for both teams. What do you think is going to happen in Detroit?
I mean, yeah, we've talked about the Lions today. And we've talked about the Cowboys in the way that their offense is dominant and at times their defense has looked shaky. They have looked improved since acquiring Quinnen Williams onto the defensive line, but still the Lions team is lethal if you cannot rush the quarterback. And to me, the Cowboys team at times this season really, really struggle to rush the quarterback. And that's why I've got the Lions winning it at home 30-28.
I just switched my prediction on this one, in part so we could keep the 9 disagreements, but also because the thing that you mentioned, the pass rush, I actually think that the Cowboys' pass rush is much improved, especially on the interior. Quinnen Williams, Osa Odigizua, both shit wreckers on the inside. You line them up next to each other. You let Donovan Ezeraku come in off the edge. You have a real chance to knock Jared Goff down and keep him down. And when you combine that with, again, an interior and a linebacking core that can contain Jahmyr Gibbs, that won't let him average more than 10 yards per touch. I've got Dallas winning in Detroit 35-31, which would make 3 in a row for the Cowboys and would put them at 7 wins on the season. We can briefly touch on our weekly records here as well. We did talk about them in the headlines. We will be talking about them there going forward, but just on the off chance that anybody is used to seeing them here and doesn't know where to look going forward, they will be in the headlines going forward. We added a third category. Both of us together were 8-3 on the games that we agreed on. We disagreed on 2 games last week, much fewer than the amount of games we disagree on this week. I went 2-0 in the games we disagreed on, being Packers over Vikings and Browns over Raiders, which put me at 10-3 on the week and you at 8-5 on the week. The yearly records shape up to be 78-49 for me, and you are 74-53. Obviously, there's a good amount of agreement in there. I am 29 games above 500. You are 21.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a huge week for our records because, like I said, we disagree on 9 games. This could be a huge swing for either of us. But we'll see what happens on. I would say what happens on Sunday, but we've got a lot of Thursday games. We've got a Friday game, and we've got a Monday game. So we will see what happens this week across the NFL. Thank you guys so much for watching this week's episode of Any Given Sunday. All of your viewership, all of your support, it really does mean the world for us. All of our social medias are going to be linked in the description. So our Instagram, our TikTok, and our X/Twitter account all will be linked in the description, as well as the YouTube channel for our executive producer, Holt Hendershot. Thank you so much to him. He really helps a lot with editing, setting up, packing up, and a lot of the work behind the scenes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a very, very great holidays. Have really happy holidays.
And happy Thanksgiving specifically. We will see you all next week for a much shorter slate than the mammoth 17 games we covered in record time this week. Thank you all for watching. We will see you next week.